All right. So one of the things I wanted to go over in this video, in particular, was the free agency in the East. So I'm just going to go through, and I'm going to make another video about the West too. But for now, I think we'll cut through the East and we'll see where we're at. So I pulled up this document, NBA.com, about all the moves that were made up to this point. So I guess we'll start with Atlanta at this point. So we'll start on this side here. All right. So on the right here, I have all these updated depth charts that I made and stuff, and then I also have up here everything they lost, everything they added, et cetera, et cetera. So, all right, Atlanta. Just overall, I remember I looked, NBA Twitter, everyone's freaking out over what Atlanta did, and they, if you have a friend who plays basketball, they're probably unable to guard that person or anybody you've ever met. They're probably still unable to guard. They have it's Trae Young, and if you still have Trae Young and John Collins on your team, you can't guard anybody. But they add Danilo Gallinari, who also can't guard anybody, and they also add Bogdan Bogdanovic, who battles, but he also can't guard anybody. So essentially, you have a five of Trae Young, Bogdanovic, Danilo, John Collins, and Capella. You have one good defender. He's good. He's not great, Capella. So basically, your starting five is going to give up 150 points per 48 minutes together as a group. It's going to be one of the most reprehensible groups that we see in a long time defensively. They add Okongwu in the draft, who I've said before that I really like, especially defensively. They add, it's worth noting that they add Chris Dunn, who is especially good on defense. I mean, he's one of the 3, 4 best on the ball defenders in the league. So I guess that helps. I don't really get the Rondo signing. He got paid too much. I guess Atlanta was still on bubble Rondo fever, but he, I don't really see it with Rondo. Him and Trae Young, I don't see how they're going to play on the same at the same time. Putting Trae off the ball, I don't know how that's going to work. So Atlanta, I mean, they're going to battle for the 8 seed, maybe, but I'm not going to lose my head over everything that they did. So I'm really not. If we go to the Celtics, you guys know I'm a Celtics fan. I don't really want to do this one, but all right. So they had Neesmith and Pritchard, guys who with shooting, who they need in the draft. But they're five. So I was kind of looking at their five, and whether you put Thompson or Tice at the five, it doesn't really matter because you have this lineup of Kemba, Smart, Brown, Tatum, and then Thompson, Tice, etc. Thompson can roll to the rim really well. He can switch really well. So it's a good addition for them. I definitely would rather have him than Miles Turner. But with Tice, this is the five right here, him and then Tice. They did go to the conference finals, and they were 2 wins away from going to the finals. So it's a good five. And you have Thompson, and I think Neesmith's going to play right away. The guy is a flamethrower shooter. They add Jeff Teague, so it really comes down to, look, would you rather have Miles Turner or would you rather have Jeff Teague and Tristan Thompson? Like, I think I'd rather have Teague and Thompson. And I like the Teague signing because, there were rumors that Danny was shopping Kemba here and there, whatever. And, if Kemba were to get hurt again, let's say, at least you have a guy in Teague who has experience being a starting point guard in the league. Like, that guy could step in and play point guard. Maybe not super effectively, but he can do it well enough for the Celts to tread water. Like, I think I'd rather have him in there than Brad Wanamaker, right? I think you guys would agree with that. So the Celts are fine. I expect, if Tatum and Brown keep leaping and everything, maybe Langford finally stays healthy. I can't believe they got Langford when Hero went the pick before. But, yeah, the Celts, I'm okay with their offseason. I'm okay with it. It's fine at this point. Brooklyn. So Brooklyn, on paper, you look at this roster and you're like, they're the best team in the East. It's Kyrie, Joe Harris, LeVert, Durant, and Jared Allen. I don't know if Jared Allen will start because Durant and Kyrie are bitches, to say the least. So they might have DeAndre Jordan start, who is just that guy. It's indefensible putting him on the floor. But on the bright side, they had Jeff Green, who, Jeff Green, watching Jeff Green play is like, playing on you're on your last spin of roulette at the casino. You just have no fucking idea what's going to happen. So Jeff Green, I love the Shamet edition. Look, they got rid of the 19th pick to get Shamet, which, I actually think that worked out well. Shamet is an elite catch and shoot guy off picks, so he's going to be a great addition for them. Just on paper, this team, if Durant is healthy, which, I hear that he is, and if Kyrie, can at least accept that he's not king shit, then maybe the Nets can come out of the East. But overall, they're going to be good, and if this Harden stuff fades away, which I expect it to, this should pretty much be their team here. Charlotte. Should I even talk about Charlotte? LaMelo, Rozier, Hayward, PJ Washington, and Zeller. Oh my God, that's so bad. So they draft Carey and Nick Richards. Does anyone want to explain that to me? Bismack Biyombo is back. So that's something. I really don't know where this team is going. I don't know the direction of this team. Gordon Hayward just got paid $120 million. I nearly fell out of my chair when I heard that news. I have no words for this team. I have no words for Michael Jordan. I don't understand how a guy can be so the best player of all time and just botch being the owner. Like, how can you botch being an NBA owner? Like, look, I'm not a huge LaMelo guy, and that guy, the ball's going to be in his hands immediately. And look, he's going to dominate the ball, and there are going to be nights where he turns the ball over like 15 times. And I guess Hornets fans are just going to have to roll with it. There's going to be nights where he looks really good because he's the only guy out there. But he's going to turn the ball over a lot. I'd be a little risky to give him a Rookie of the Year honors just because of how high his turnover rate's going to be. Chicago, they didn't really do anything except draft Pat Williams. They lost Chris Dunn, which was huge defensively for them. But Kobe White, I was kind of hoping they would take a point guard because I don't really consider Kobe White a point guard. He's more of a 2 by NBA standards. He's like 6'5", and he takes like stupid long fadeaway 2s. And it's not that he's not a good passer, but he's really, he more so is wired to score than he is to kind of distribute. So they here with Kobe White, Levine, Lowry, Patrick Williams, and Wendell Carter. That's a great young play. That's a great bunch of young players there. They don't really have much depth beyond that, but if they can add to those young players, like that's really good for them. So Chicago will be fine. Maybe they'll fight for a playoff spot, maybe not. If I had to do a toss-up between them and Atlanta, I'd probably lean Atlanta just because they probably they're both terrible defensively, but Atlanta probably has a higher ceiling than this team does. And then finally, Cleveland. Finally, for all the pretty bad teams here, Garland, Sexton, Okoro is going to start immediately. Okoro, by the way, I would seriously heavily consider possibly taking Okoro for Rookie of the Year. You can get him at about plus 2,400 thereabout. He's going to play a lot of minutes. He's going to come in and play 35, 36 minutes a game, and he's their best defensive player. He's the best defensive player in the draft. Kevin Love's not going to be trying. Drummond doesn't try on a bad team. I like C.D. Osman a lot. They didn't really do much. They're going to be atrocious again, and they're going to be in the lottery. They're going to be a top 5 pick once again. Here's where I really wanted to get to. Okay, I need a rant about Detroit for about 5 minutes, if that's okay with everybody. 2 different people handled the draft for the Detroit Pistons and the free agency for the Detroit Pistons. So the Detroit Pistons come out and they take Hayes, Isaiah Stewart, and Sadiq Bey all in a row in the draft. And I gave him an A+ draft grade. I said, oh my God, that's the best draft of anybody here. Like, nice job. Oh my God. Awesome draft. And then they signed Jeremy Grant for $60 million. If you didn't hear what I just said, they signed Jeremy Grant for $60 million. Look, I like Jeremy Grant. He's an excellent role player. He was great for Denver, especially good in the bubble. Denver, believe it or not, matched the offer for Jeremy Grant for 4 for $60. But Jeremy Grant left for Detroit because he wanted a bigger scoring load. Imagine a big scoring load on your team being Jeremy Grant. Can you? Because I can't. They signed Mason Plumlee, who, for any amount of money you give Mason Plumlee, is just a travesty. They signed Jahlil Okafor, who also, and then Josh Jackson was just the icing on the cake. I don't know who is running these decisions or who is approving these decisions, but this team is just a travesty. Again, they're the worst. They have the worst roster in the league. This starting 5 it just hurts my eyes looking at it, to be honest with you. Griffin, he's going to get out of there. They're going to trade him eventually. Derrick Rose wants to go to a contender. I would get Rose and Griffin out of there so you can just keep playing, get Killian and get Sadiq Bey a lot of playing time. I like Killian Hayes a lot, but I worry that Detroit might ruin him. So this is something that I'm very worried about. So Detroit was absolutely tripping on acid when they did the free agency. They had a nice draft night, and they said, it would be funny if we really fucked this up. That would be funny. So Detroit, I don't know what you're doing between Grant, Plumlee, and Josh Jackson. That's too much money to give to three guys who just do not get. I'm just at a loss for words. If you can see, they let Christian Wood walk. Bruce Brown traded. They traded Kennard. And look, they got back Saddiq Bey. I love Saddiq Bey. He was one of my favorite players in the draft. So that's just indefensible. I can't spend any more time on this or I'm going to get upset. I'm upset for Detroit fans, to be honest with you. Okay. Now, if I go from Detroit to Indiana didn't really do anything. Okay, I'm not going to spend too much time. They drafted Stanley, who's going to be good eventually, but their five is still the same. They tried to do the sign and trade with the Celts. They wanted Gordon Hayward for Turner and McDermott. The Celts wanted Turner and either Aaron Holiday or Oladipo, and Indiana laughed in Danny Ainge's face. And so they're pretty much the same team. Miles Turner, Sabonis is the guy they should be building around. I don't know how long they're planning on keeping Turner there. Brogdon, we'll see what happens with Oladipo. But for now, Indiana will be relevant, but not relevant enough. And as a Celtics fan, I just couldn't bear watching what the Miami Heat did. So Miami just comes off the finals. Unfortunately, they weren't able to obtain re-sign Jay Crowder. But you get Dragic back. You still have Duncan, Jimmy. You have that kind of. I didn't know which one's going to start. I could see Precious Achiuwa winning out the starting spot. But Myers, Leonard, Kelly, Precious Achiuwa, bam. That's a good five. Look, if Dragic is what he was in the bubble, this is an excellent five. You have Nunn coming off the bench, Hero coming off the bench, Harkless and Avery Bradley. So they add these two guys. They add Harkless and Avery Bradley. Harkless is a championship caliber role player. He's an excellent role player on a championship team. Avery Bradley's the same. Avery Bradley can step in and guard the best guard on the opposing team. No problems. So this is just an excellent signing for Miami. And I'm sitting there watching as Danny Ainge is sipping his hot cocoa while everybody else is doing these moves. And so I just Miami, they're going to be good again. And we'll see what happens. So Miami did a nice job. So let's talk about the Bucks for a second. Did the Bucks really get better? This is the same way I feel about the Celtics. Did the Bucks get better, or is it just more the same? Or is it just different, right? So if you look at the Bucks, they trade the house for Jrue Holiday. The house. And look, you're going to say, oh, they had to do it. Yes, they did. You do it 12 times out of 10 because you lose Chris Paul. But you trade the house for Jrue Holiday, which I love Jrue Holiday. You know, everyone in the league loves Jrue Holiday. He's the best defensive guard in the league. You know, how do you not love Jrue Holiday? But they gave up a ton of stuff, man, for Jrue Holiday. So now they're five, what they lost, as you can see, they lose Bledsoe, George Hill, Wes Matthews, Robin Lopez, Kyle Korver. So that's a good chunk of their team. Ersan Ilyasova gets waived and Marvin Williams retires. So that's a big chunk of the guys who are playing minutes, like solid minutes for that team. And good for the Bucks. Look, they said they were going to do stuff for Giannis, and they did. It's stuff they had to do. But is it an upgrade? I heard Giannis was very upset about the Bogdanovich thing because that was one of the things he really wanted. But apparently it was such a weird situation because Bogdanovich didn't know what was going on. And he was like, wait, the news broke that he agreed to the sign-in trade and he didn't. He was like, what the fuck? I didn't agree to this. It was such a weird, I'd never seen anything like it. So now he's with Atlanta and the Bucks lose their entire team. But they gain Jrue Holiday and they get Bryn Forbes, they get DJ Augustine, who I like those two additions. Okay. Bobby Portis, not so much. He's going to end up punching Giannis in the face at some point. Torrey Craig was an excellent addition. He can guard. He can switch on a lot of wings that they had trouble guarding in the playoffs, which is good. And Stauskas is a flamethrower. And I like Jordan Nwora, who they drafted. So it's a different team. Do I think it's necessarily a better team? I'm not really too sure. But we'll see. Look, if you have Giannis on your team, you're going to be really fucking good. If you have Giannis on your team, you're going to be one of the three best teams. That just goes without saying. So Jrue Holiday, Dante, Middleton. Maybe Middleton goes up a level. If Brook continues to play defense, they'll play defense very well. And it's just a matter of if they can make shots and if the other guys can. And DJ Augustine and Bryn Forbes and Stauskas, those guys are going to have to knock down shots. So we'll see. And they also need more playmakers. Look, DJ Augustine and Bryn Forbes are more playmakers than they are spot-up shooters, and that's something that they heavily lacked when Giannis was getting shut down going to the basket. So that's definitely something that they had to do, and they did it, and they kind of remade this team. The Knicks, as you guys know, I love RJ Barrett, and I just think he might get ruined by this terrible franchise. But they take Obi Toppin at 8, which is fine. I thought they should have taken Halliburton. So they re-signed. So you have, right, originally in free agency, I texted one of my friends who's a Knicks fan. I said, I kind of like what they did. They're going to let the young guys play. And I guess I spoke too soon, because 3 hours later they had signed Nerlens Noel, Alec Burks, and Austin Rivers in a matter of like 4.5 hours. And I was like, oh God. So Elfrid Payton's fine. RJ, Reggie Bullock, Randall, and Mitchell Robinson. Now you got to give Noel minutes, Alec Burks minutes, and Austin Rivers minutes. Austin Rivers is going to want to prove that he's a good player, and he's going to take terrible shots. So that reduces the minutes for Frankie Smokes, who I like. I think Quickly should play right away. He's really good. And Kevin Knox is just not going to develop. Like, if you're not going to play that guy, he's not going to develop. The young guys that have to play are RJ and Mitch, because if they don't play, they're going to suck, because RJ's their best player. So it's kind of like, I really don't know where they go from here. Randall's just a ball stopper. He doesn't really fit their timeline. Randall's a good player, but he's a ball stopper. And you got to play RJ, Mitch, Frankie Smokes, Obi, Kevin Knox, Quickly. Like, you got to play those guys. And if you don't play them, you're never going to develop. So the Knicks, you need bodies, obviously. So that's why they signed them for bodies. But you just signed the wrong bodies, because those guys want to shoot and those guys want to, hug the ball. So we'll see how that works. The Knicks are going to be travesty again. They just better hope they get Kate Cunningham in the draft. So, yeah. Orlando, I actually think Orlando might... Fultz, I personally think Cole Anthony's better than Markelle Fultz. So don't be surprised if you see Cole Anthony take over the Fultz spot. It's not that I don't like Markelle Fultz. They're the same team, except they just drafted Cole Anthony. So they get a little better. They're the same team. They lose DJ Augustine. It's going to be pretty big for them. But other than that, we're going to see Chuma Okeke in action. So a lot of Magic fans are happy about that. I got to be honest with you. I haven't given up on Mo Bamba. I have not given up on Mo Bamba. And then before I get to 76ers, I'm going to close with them. But Toronto didn't really do anything. They lost Gasol and Ibaka, which is huge for them. That knocks them down many pegs. And then Washington, I like their starting five, but I like Denny Advia too. We'll see how much they let those guys play, and how much Wall, how happy John Wall will be there. And then Bertan's got $80 million, which is a lot for him. But so we'll see. You never know. But Washington could make a hunt for the playoffs in the East. I want to end on Philly, because Daryl Morey completed and fixed Philly's problems in one night, in one day, pretty much. And it was pretty much on draft night. So what he does is he drafts Tyrese Maxey, who I love. I love. That dude's a gym rat. He's in the gym constantly. And one of the things with Philly was when Ben Simmons got hurt and Ben Simmons was not taking threes, it was like, okay, you have this amazing post player in Embiid. You have this amazing transition point guard defender in Ben Simmons. Thibault is coming along. He's good defensively, but we don't really have anyone who can shoot. Like, we keep getting these open looks, and we're one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the league. So what do we do here? So Daryl Morey says, oh, okay, let's do an amazing trade for both teams and trade basically Josh Richardson for Seth Curry, which is the best equal trade I've ever seen in my life, probably of my lifetime in the league, to be honest. That trade helps both teams tremendously. So you get Danny Green and Seth Curry on your team, and they're going to start immediately. Now you got shooting out of nowhere. So you got that five of Simmons, Seth Curry, Danny Green, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid. That's a good starting five. That's a really good five. And they had Dwight Howard, which that's a travesty. Dwight Howard fucking sucks. But look, I really love what this guy did. Morey comes in and fixed their problems, and he came in and he basically said, I'm not separating Embiid and Simmons. Are you crazy? Look what we got with those guys. I heard Embiid is getting into crazy shape. And if Embiid gets into crazy shape, we could be in trouble. People with lack of size, aka the Celtics, you could be in trouble. Because when Embiid plays and he gets in shape, the potential on that guy is very scary. But I'll see it when I believe it, of course. But look, the offense-defense on this team, the combination, Curry and Danny Green, look, it's a good team. It's going to be a team that's going to be able to shoot and spread the floor, and it's going to let Embiid go to work and do driving kicks. finally, maybe Embiid will stop shooting threes. I hope that's the case. I hope he stops shooting threes. And I hope Thibault takes a jump. I love that guy. So overall, this is the East. And, I didn't give any grades, but, I'm going to do a ratings, like a rankings of the teams, like where I think they're going to finish in the standings. I'm going to have a West video coming out soon. I have that all written down and everything. So that'll be that. And then, and then I'm probably going to do maybe some fantasy rankings. I haven't decided yet. But if there's any video recommendations, leave a comment and everything like that. Let me know, okay? Subscribe to Game Winning Turnover, as well as Mouse in the House podcast. Follow us on everything. Follow on Twitter. I'm going to be giving a lot of college basketball picks with my model coming up, so follow College Basketball Guru on Twitter, and follow our Twitter pages and all social media.